and events are predestined to determine the purpose of the plan of Yahweh. As the scriptures show, the things that the prophets wrote foretelling the Messiah would come through the loins of the Virgin Mary and fulfill the jot and tittle of those prophecies that were written where? In the Old Testament. So that shows you the events are predestined and foreknown by Elohim himself. Okay, we're going to start off here with Moses' vision compared with Daniel's vision. Now, we showed you initially that Moses is going to describe this Elohistic form on top of Mount Sinai when we read Exodus 24, 9 and 10. And then we're going to read another explanation of this, Daniel's explanation. But see, as we read this, we're going to find it tells you very little about this embodiment. In other words, he saw a man that had feet, etc. Okay, then as we go on, Ezekiel said, wait a minute, let me tell you about this body. It's something else. It's it emits light, it's translucent, meaning it's clear light, light-emitting body. And then he starts correlating with precious stones like beryl,
diamond, jasper,
diamonds, and all this type of stuff. So what he's trying to do is demonstrate that this body is not of this realm, but it is composed of a substance that's similar, that we have types and what? Shadows and allegory. Now Romans 1:19 says this, he says, for the invisible things of Yahweh are clearly seen, being understood by the things of the man. Well, Yahweh made this whole creation. And what happened, if these elements that you have are minerals and elements that you have in the earth plane, they also exist over in the what? In the angelic realm. But they have another order. These, when you look at what we have in terms of beryl and gold and diamonds and amethyst, those stones are beggarly. Just like the physical body, when you compare it to a spiritual body, it ain't no comparison. See, it does have the outline, like you said, everything in this body, like you saw those angels, they got a brain, they got everything that we have, internal organs, but they have another what? They have another realm, see what I'm saying? So it does take the natural to understand what? The spirit. So let us go into it. It says, then went up Moses and they did allow you 70 elders, and they saw the God Elohim of Israel. And under his work was a pavement of a sapphire stone, and it was the body of heaven in its clearness. And listen, that's all he said. That's all he said.
That's right.
At that time.
Right. That's right.
That's all he said.
That's right.
Now, it took Daniel, remember the same situation. They had just been released from captivity. He didn't reveal this. Now what he does now, what Yahweh does, he reveals himself under Daniel in what? In a vision, in captivity. That is in Babylon.
Right.
See, and we go there.
Point to the PowerPoint.
Okay. Now here's what Daniel said. Now remember, Daniel's in captivity to Babylon, and here's what he says in the 4th chapter. This is probably the most detailed version in the Old Testament that you have all of this. Now the Yahshua Messiah is going to come in to fulfill it when he takes them to transfiguration to show them what y'all been seeing. See, and then later John saw the same thing in the heavenly realm.
Right.
So what he's doing is trying to prepare them to give them some type of context to how he operates.
That's right.
And what he is. Because see, people got all types of weird imaginations and Hollywood imagination of this thing. And they don't understand it. That's why most people say when they see that stuff, if you don't have a context, the first thing you think these are space creatures. They come from another world. No. They come from another dimension. They're not part of the physical what? World or creation. Period. But they can appear here and put on a physical body at will and do what? And appear in a physical body and take it off. Ain't no problem with it. Okay, so it says, here we are with Daniel.
Daniel 10, 4-6.
Right.
In the 420th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Ezekiel, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold uphah.
Now what do you say? Now he's talking about a man that's what described as fine what? Gold. You don't know man physically like that, so he's describing a spiritual embodiment that gives off such fine radiancy that it is the only thing that he can use in the natural to describe what? What he saw. And Paul said, I knew a man of 14 years lifted up with the heavens that saw all things that were unlawful. You just can't explain this stuff to nobody. If you did, they think you was what? They think you stone nuts out of your mind. And the guy said, my scientific mind can't what? You can't handle it. Tell me to leave this stuff alone because it does not fit within the scientific what?
Yeah, no reference for it.
As a reference. So you you have to either believe one and reject the other. You can't take what?
Right.
Both of them simultaneously. They won't fit. They won't fit. And then if you do, you go around going crazy.
You can't serve two masters.
That's right. You can't serve two masters. That's what the Messiah's talking about. Okay, read.
His body also was like the beryl, and his face as he appeared.
Now we'll show forward. No, very few people saw beryl. If you saw beryl, we got pictures of it. You can go on the internet, go to Wikipedia. Everything is instantaneously. Remind me of a vision that I had when I went home back into the spirit realm. You go in these libraries, these books would come out, and they start talking to you. And instantaneously, they just flow right past you. And almost instantaneously, you would just know something. There would be no struggle. So we have it down here with the internet, and you draw instant information. What? Instantaneously. Before we had to go to a card catalog, haul up all these books. See, and now you can sit in your gown or draw somewhere and just go the whole world.
While sipping
coffee. Okay, read.
Okay. And his arms and feet like in color to polished brass.
Okay, so he's talking about brass. In other words, he's using these things to give us some type of idea of this embodiment. Okay, read.
Okay, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.
Right.
Okay, Book of Revelation also.
Okay, now what happened was, and that was Daniel's vision. Okay, then we jump over to Revelation, John on the Isle of Patmos. Say, now he's going to confirm Moses, but he said, well, okay, Moses, you just wrote, you're just a bare ass. Now we got to get kind of detail now. See, that was an outline. I'm going to put some meat on this thing. So he gives more detail. This is what John said he saw in his vision. And also, Peter, James, and John. John also saw the transfiguration. So he's able to put all this stuff together. It's really, jail in his hard mind. Okay, read.
And immediately I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardius stone.
Okay, so if you don't understand anything about them stones, in our culture, very few people know about these stones. But these were stones that had a great deal of radiancy, and they also reflected some type of spiritual attributes.
Right.
Okay, read.
And there was a rainbow round about the throne, and sight like unto an emerald.
Okay, now here we have confirming that. Now, that same Elohistic form, when that crystal-like body, it finally got into a body, put on a physical body. And then was actually born of a woman. We're going to talk about that. But then walked around this earth. We're talking about the Elohistic body, the creator of heaven and earth in a body. See, then he said, wait a minute, y'all got to misunderstand. I'm going to show you something. So he took Peter, James, and John, just like Moses and they lived about 70 elders went up here this mountain. Right. Yahshua Messiah is fulfilling that. Now he takes them up. This is what they see.
And after 6 days, Yahshua Messiah taketh Peter, James, and John.
6 days is according to Moses' vision. We don't have time to go into that. But all this stuff is interconnected. Okay, read.
And bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him.
So you got this huge body that is almost lighting it. See, and so this is further food. So what we've done is traced a continuity of thought of this translucent body, this gem-like body, down through what? Ages and dispensations. See, now they were right. Now many people saw this body that were Gentiles. They thought it freaked them out. They thought they were probably talking to some pagan what? Deity. Because he didn't tell them their name or nothing. They just saw it. Right. Okay. Now we go to we want to compare the comparison of the circumstances during Moses and Ezekiel's theophany. Okay. In other words, when they had this vision, the circumstances that occurred were very similar. See, for instance, Moses was given a commission to go back down to the land of what? Egypt. Somebody get me the 3rd chapter of Ezekiel. You find out he was given a commission. Right. After he had saw this theophany. Right. After he had saw this vision. I mean, just imagine you having this vision. The best thing you can do is in that movie there. It'll blow your mind. You could never be the what? You're not be the same. Never, ever. You can't go back to think the way you used to think without this knowledge. Because once that light enters, you could never ever what?
Go back in the dark.
Right.
You could never go back in the dark. These guys were just like the guy when he was told that he couldn't go. They communicated instantly that he couldn't go. He didn't argue, and it also gave him some understanding that everything would be okay.